This is Pat Bird again. In this mini lecture, I'll be looking at some of the features of what's called task-based instruction. Now, a way of working from what students have to do in their content classes as the basis of what they need to learn in their EAP classes. Task in task-based instruction can be confusing for those of us who've been teaching ESL a long time and think of task as something students do in class, an activity. But in this sense, task is something that the students do as part of their work as a student. It's not about language learning, but it's something that a teacher in psychology or biology or humanities or English comp requires them to do. So it's not our kind of ESL EAP task, but something that's going on in the content course classroom. Task in this sense can involve speaking, listening, reading, writing, or any of these in combination. They are real world rather than language learning activities. And they require cognitive processes such as selecting, classifying, ordering, reasoning, and evaluating. For our EAP students, tasks in their content courses are things like talking with a teacher during office hours, listening to a teacher's lecture or another student's questions, asking questions during class or office hours, reading required materials like a textbook or a syllabus, writing on tests, writing papers, writing the text for PowerPoint slides for presentations. So their academic tasks involve all of the language skills to carry out things that are required for their courses. To find out about the academic tasks that are required for your students in your setting, it's important for us to do some research right there at home, and we do that by reading content course syllabi, seeing what's going on in there, what the students have to do, visiting some content courses, not evaluating them, but it's just going to take a look in the classes taught by a friend in biology or psychology to see how teaching there is different from teaching in ESL or EAP. Talking with your colleagues who teach content courses to find out what kinds of things they're requiring students to do, and maybe the kinds of things students are having trouble doing. Reading the materials that our students have to read for the content classes, read their textbooks, read the course syllabus, read handouts. Just start to look at those things to find out what's going on in those classes. And you can also see that there are other people who have talked about academic tasks. Take a look at lists that other people have developed. Now, this is a big task, and that's the reason I said EAP teachers can find out, because it's something that's better done by a group of teachers who can look over these materials and share them with each other and talk together about what they're seeing. This aspect of task-based instruction is usually really hard for us to do because we can't just sit in our offices and recall our own prior educations. It's not thinking back over what we used to do, but finding out about what's going on now. And it's time-consuming. That's true. So it's, again, the reason it's better done by working with several colleagues than trying to do it all by yourself. Now, what we do is we find out about the academic task, and then we work from those to what EAP instruction might be. So to develop materials and curricula that include academic tasks, we need to first develop that list of academic tasks based on real courses at Miami-Dade. Here the ACE staff has already got lists that they've been working on and that you can look at and talk about and expand. Find out about the kinds of academic tasks that students are going to have to work on. Then look at that list of academic tasks with your language teacher's eye to identify challenges for EAP students. For example, a common academic task is read the syllabus for a content class. Well, what's involved in read the syllabus for a content course? What kind of language challenges are involved in a course syllabus? The commands, the requirements, the use of lists, So I think it's important to look at some course syllabi and see what the vocabulary and grammar look like. And then, of course, the sociocultural challenges, students coming from other places having to understand the legal and the power of a syllabus that it's the requirements, and that you have to keep going back to it. You don't just take it and throw it away after class, but go back and figure out from time for all of the whole semester what you're supposed to be doing based on that contract between the teacher and the student. Here's another example. A common academic task is read the textbook assignment given on the syllabus or in class by the teacher. So what's involved in read the textbook assignment? Well, there's reading the textbook assignment itself. So, excuse me, new words, new and more complex grammar with those words, new meaning and content, and even new demands for the amount of time they have to spend reading. They have a lot of reading to be covered in a very short period of time. So how is that to be dealt with by the EAP reader? So vocabulary, grammar, meaning, content, all of those things that are involved in becoming a better reader of the academic textbook. But also learning to read in a way that's connected to other academic tasks that are required by the course. The teacher may be assuming, probably is, the students will read the assignments given on the syllabus as a way to prepare for what the teacher will do in class, or to be able to listen to the lecture or to participate in a discussion. So how do you read something while thinking about it as background to lectures or to discussions? Or read to know what we don't know to prepare to ask questions. That's a real skill, to read through and think, what of this is worth asking the teacher about? And reading to prepare to take tests or write papers or write the material. So it's that academic purpose of reading, to read, to use the content for some other kind of purpose. So it's easy to say read the textbook assignment, but there's a lot of work for the EAP teacher and EAP student implied by that. Connecting task and content. So we have, at this point, you can see that academic tasks don't have any natural content to them. They're things you do, but they can't be taught in the abstract because some content has to be used. And that's where you can embed the academic task in a content-based approach, which gives us strong and important content along with an approach of useful activities and study using that content. So the students get, in the ACE combination, content from academic courses, academic tasks identified in the course materials, and, very importantly, they are still language learners. So they're content and academic tasks, but learning language based on the content and the academic tasks that they're working with. So they can learn useful vocabulary and grammar in the context of the content and the academic tasks in Miami-Dade's general education courses.